Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point, the most stable, the most watched, the most talked about show with the most consistent host, co-host, and panelist. Today with me, obviously, is my co-host, Mr. Michael Padmore, and our special guest of honor is Mr. Weah. Honorable Weah, as you know, is a man who will introduce himself, but as servants of the community have served in many, many positions, and I must remind you, he's a pro soupist, and we're going to be discussing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point. Mr. Padmore, how you doing out there?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Jerome. It's a cold but a sunny day in Minnesota, and just give thanks on this Sunday to see all of you and to have another week to interact with you and our viewers, and hopefully we move Liberia forward. Thank you so much.
Mr. Doe, from the nation's capital, how are you and how's the family?
I am doing fine. My name is Weah from the nation's capital, most especially the DC belt. Let me put it that way. I'm so thrilled to be on your show. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is the first time for me to be on your show. But I'm happy to be here for us to touch some of those basic issues, and that you have issues of concern to me, to you, and Patmore, and the rest of Liberians, both here in the diaspora and the homeland. So I'm here prepared. At least, let's talk. Let's focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor. Mr. Doe, Mr. Padmore, let's share this show. Please share the show with your network of friends and families. Let us get involved. The show is divided into 3 parts usually. The introduction, then we do the opinionated topics, the views that express here express view of our own and not that of the official voice of Focus on Liberia. And this is why we bring on people with vast knowledge about subject matter. I want to also special thanks to Mr. Padmore. Mr. Padmore is a hardworking man, businessman, who even when he works overnight, he will take the time to make sure that you see him every Sunday here. It takes special commitment, just like the guys who run this event, this particular show. This is not easy, but he is committed to doing it. Mr. Padmore, I want to thank you very much for what you do for us. I think Mr. Doe may have had some issue with his internet. But anyhow, Mr. Padmore, Liberia is ripe. Issues from the Supreme Court to the University of Liberia, the president travel, you name it, we have a potpourri of issues. In fact, we have probably narrowed it down to four subjects, actually. So today we are going to be very, very busy. We want to get involved, discuss. This time around, we're going to read some comments, and then we are going to respond to the comments. If we have time, we're going to squeeze in one or two calls. Mr. Padmore, can you please read for us what is it that we need to be discussing, and let's get to this.
Oh, look at him, man.
You're from CWA. You're from CWA. You should be.
Really, it's not my issue. I didn't pull up I hadn't pulled up the list. That's all.
Oh, okay. It's scrolling. You can't see it, and I'll go ahead and do it.
Oh, he got it scrolling. Okay, let me see.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is. The show is on point. Obviously, the guys who come here, they're always off point, and I am always right.
Where is this scrolling? Where is this scrolling?
Okay, so the topics for today would be number one, CPP's petition to the Supreme Court. Number two, President Weah trip to the United States. Number three, Boakai CP pick and more. Now let's begin with the CPP letter to the Supreme Court. Mr. Padmore.
Yes, sir.
You are either a sympathizer or a close friend of the CPP, especially Mr. Alexander Cummings. The CPP wrote the Supreme Court this week or last week, this is a new week. They are concerned about the Elections Commission's credibility and legality as it relates to the census and voter registration. I don't know if you have that letter with you, but they have a concern. They do not want this issue to be addressed by the judge in chamber or justice in chamber. They want the entire Supreme Court to address this issue about the voter registration, the incomplete census, and all of those things. And they quoted a couple of articles. Your say on this, how do you feel and what you think is going on here? Is there a strategy here for the CPP?
Well, I don't know if you will call it a strategy, but we just want things to be done the right way. That's all. We want our elections to be credible. We need, not want. Let me change that. We need our elections to be credible. We need our elections to be free and fair. Look, once the elections are free and fair, no matter the outcome, we will all live with it. We will. If we are defeated, we'll wipe our butt, we'll dry our tears, we'll go sit down. If we are victorious, we will prepare for leadership. But what we need is for it to be free and fair. There are so many things, starting from 2017. I don't know if you remember, when Charles Walker Bromsky and a slew of others went to the Supreme Court concerning the elections. The Supreme Court, after they were done, it wasn't as if they just said, no, President Weah won and that's it. No. There were certain things that they listed that needed to be done. Okay, one of those things, cleaning up the voter roll. It hasn't been done. Almost 6 years now. It hasn't been done. We are moving. We had 3 or 4 different by-elections on the old voter roll that we all agreed is not accurate. And now we are going into presidential elections again. The voter roll still has not been cleaned. 1 minute, the election commission say we're using biometric. The next minute say we're using traditional. Then the next minute say, oh, we'll miss the two. I mean, like, we have, if we want peace, in the country, it is incumbent upon all of us, And apparently CPP has taken on that weight to make sure that these elections that we're going to, that they are free, they are fair, they are transparent. That when they beat you, you can say, my man, I ain't even getting an argument. And especially when the Supreme Court Justice, a Chief Justice, comes up and makes a statement that their particular election round, when you come in, if you better come with what she deems as proof or evidence. If you don't come with that, the Supreme Court will not entertain your petition. The CPP we're just doing what we need to do ahead of time. That is a hallmark of Mr. Cummings. He's a man that he has tragedy, he has planning. He doesn't wait for things to fall apart, then he starts running around. No. And so that's why we are doing this, and we expect the full bench to address this, because during elections, we won't have the full bench. Our elections happen as the Supreme Court is going to recess, and only one judge is left there, ironically, but that's where we are. And I applaud the CPP for doing this. I would encourage other opposition parties to also join the CPP. It is in everybody's interest that these elections are credible, they are transparent, they are free, they are fair. So I will employ the UPP, the UP, the LP, the LAP, the LPP, all the Ps to join the CPP with this petition to make sure that we do this, and we do this the right way.
Mr. Doe,
Yes, sir.
let me read the first paragraph of this petition here, and then we take it from there. It was filed Friday, March the 17th, 2023. It said, earlier today, the collaborating political party CPP filed a petition before the full bench of the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia. Like many Liberians, the CPP concerned about the constitutionality of the action of the National Elections Commission, NEC, to conduct voter registration after the conduct of census, but without the constitutionally demarcating constituencies into which a voter is to be registered. Then they went on to court. In keeping with Article 80C, every Liberian citizen shall have the right to be registered in a constituency and to vote in public election only in the constituency where they were registered. So according to CPP, without the full results accredited by the NDC and the Court of Law, they think that this election commission does not have the power and the right to sanction voter registration beginning tomorrow, the 20th.
So yes, right. I don't know, but CPP has her rights to petition the Supreme Court. But from what you read, I don't know as to whether CPP is another election commission, that is in parallel with the National Elections Commission. But CPP does have the right to petition whatsoever they want to petition, or whosoever they want to petition. But one thing I do know is that past elections, we have seen several things happening in past elections, and immediately after the elections, people go to court. You go to court to seek redress so as to fix those things. The question here is those the particular thing that people are concerned about, have they been fixed since then? If they have not, if a political party deem it expedient to petition the Supreme Court and have proof that these things are not being fixed, I think it is important, incumbent upon the Elections Commission or the ruling that came down whatsoever to fix those things before the elections, because we know about elections in different countries where after the election you will not see the full bench looking at issues. So if CPP deem it expedient to petition the Supreme Court and other political parties want to join and join, but it is their right to do whatsoever they are doing to petition the Supreme Court. And also, it is the Supreme Court who interprets the law. So I read about what the Chief Justice has said. When you are coming, come with facts. I know that lady very well. She doesn't want to waste anybody's time, even the opposition, those who want to be petitioning or filing petition whatsoever. That they should come with facts. So if these things that the CPP is talking about, petition the Supreme Court for the full bench to hear the case, of course, if the Supreme Court deem it expedient, they can do it. But they interpret the law, they look at the law, they see things far ahead of the political parties. So they are, I think they are in the rightful position to reply, and if they deem it expedient, they can even hear it or they can. So CPP has the right to do that, and as any other political party.
Mr. Doe, real quick here. If the CP putting themselves in a box, for instance, they are appealing, they don't want anything less than the full bench. So let's agree that, let's say one of the judges got ill or on vacation or something happened. Can they use that as an alibi to say, well, you say you didn't want the Supreme Court? Because usually what scholars, legal luminaries do, they appeal to the Supreme Court, and not specifically to say, I need all 9 or 7 or 6 judges to rule on this. So are they putting themselves in a box that if someone got ill, they would say, well, we didn't discuss it because you wanted the full bench and the full bench wasn't available?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want. That's what CPP want. Can they get it? They may not get it. They may get it or they may not get it, but that's what they want. So if the full bench is prepared to look into the case, let it prepare. Let it look into the case. But what I'm saying here is the CPP right to request whatsoever, because they have lawyers. Where the lawyer advised them that, oh, we're filing this, we want for the full bench to hear the case. And so if the CPP said the full bench, they want the full bench, then they are not. The Supreme Court will not sit over there and allow it to be pulled around or to toss around by political parties. I know Supreme Court, that Omar will not even do it. You will not do it. The Chief Justice would not even. None of those guys that are in there, they would not do that. So I would not say the CPP is throwing itself in the box or whatsoever. But it is their right. Again, it's their right. The CPP right to file. When they say they want the whole country to hear the case, the whole country agree to hear the case, they will hear it. And the Supreme, they will say this, the entire Supreme Court bench should hear the case, and the Supreme Court bench said, it's not necessary that we hear the case. We have process as far as hearing case is concerned. So I will hope and pray that the Supreme Court going to reply to the CPP. The CPP may not like it, but it is what it is.
Mr. Padmore, isn't this a kind of an error here? If you have, like Mr. Doe just talked about, we talk about processes and procedure, right? Okay, the Elections Commission, you claim is in violation. You did not address the violation to the to the Elections Commission. You went over their head without even addressing an issue with them. If you find any errors or anything, you went straight to the Supreme Court. Isn't that an error that the Supreme Court would say, go back to the process, go back to the Elections Commission and express your dissent or your complaints? And when they address it, not to your satisfaction, then you bring it to the Supreme Court. But you cannot jump over step 1 and 2 and go straight to number 3. What do you think is the strategy here?
Well, okay, so for information, on several occasions, the CPP has written the Election Commission. We've written the Election Commission on several issues, including this one. The Election Commission has chosen not to call a hearing or not to adjust itself. So what you do is you move to the next step. You go to the Supreme Court. Okay, the Supreme Court will do one or two things. They will either hear the argument or they will instruct the National Elections Commission to hear the argument and say, look, you guys are skipping a step. These people have an issue. They deserve a day in court. That's constitutional. We all deserve a day in court. So you need to hear these people issue and then issue a judgment. And then if they are not satisfied, they can come to us. So the Supreme Court can do that, or the Supreme Court can say, we'll hear the case. And they can hear the case and they can issue a judgment. That's up to them. But let me speak to this, because I think Liberian people need to hear this. After every census, right, the legislature, okay, looks at the census and makes certain determinations. One is they will create a number and say in every district, every constituent, this will be the number. 50,000, 20,000. Anything above that number, or every time we have that number, that will be a new district. Okay? Now, when people go to register, you register in the district you are going to vote in. The election ballots are different from district to district. Because every district, there's a different lawmaker, there's a different representative. So the election ballot is different from district to district. So right now, we are in March. You're about to start doing registration. So if I go and register in District 17, St. Paul Bridge, okay? And then in May, when the census people come up with their finding, and then they found out that, they put too much in District 17, we need to split that into two districts. Now we'll have District 17, District 18. Where do I fall? Where do I fall? I've already registered. But the district I registered in doesn't even exist anymore. Where do I fall? Those are the things that we are talking about. Those are the things we are talking about. And we want the Supreme Court to address this. To say, wait. Are we putting the cart before the horse? And nobody wants to address it. Nobody seems concerned. Nobody seems concerned. How many lawmakers we're even going to be to have in the election? We don't even know, because we don't have a census report. And nobody seems concerned. And this is what CPP is saying. How does as a political party, how do you even create a strategy? How do you even align your people? And so we are going to the Supreme Court so that hopefully they can do one or two things. They can either halt the registration process right now until the census come out, or they can make an official declaration that we are going off the old census. There will be no change between now and elections. At least that way we know where we're going.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point. Please share this show. Get involved. I see there are a lot of comments here. Let me recognize some people here. Tatas Miller, Edward Hall, my Bassa brother from Fullsville, Glenn Genius, my sister from Bassa, obviously. Ruth Cephas is here. Mr. Ketter is here. Kento is here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being so loyal to the show. We'll read your comments. We'll make sure that we read the comment this time around. We get some great one coming up. Mr. Doe, I think you in the nation's capital. Usually, when I was president of the local ACLU, we usually file our case to the Supreme Court through our legal minds, and we send it to the Supreme Court. Whether it is abortion or civil rights, we send it to the Supreme Court. I have never in any case heard anybody say we want the entire Supreme Court to hear this. I guess we have a different system in Liberia. So it may be that it happened. I've never been involved in any way in Liberia. But to say we need the entire Supreme Court to hear this, to me, it was an error on the part of whoever wrote that petition, because now it backs them in a corner. What happens if we have only a justice in chamber and the entire Supreme Court is not available? Should they table that until they say, well, they say they need?
Yes. That's the thing, Jerome. That's the thing, Jerome. The CPP file, right? The CPP, I know they have legal minds. They filed the document. They know how, they know the process, they know the procedure, they know how things work. The lawyers. But the Supreme Court of the United States of America is far different from the Supreme Court of Liberia. The fact that the way in which the U.S. will file a petition to the Supreme Court, some of the readings tell us that the document goes straight to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court, they have their procedure, they have their process, and when they receive the document, the case, the filing, the petition, they go into it. Whatsoever thing they want to do, they do it. But there is nothing wrong for the CPP or the lawyer to say, you bring the whole Liberia and listen to our case. They feel within themselves that it's expedient for them. The thing is, they are right. Of course, let them go ahead. It is the Supreme Court that will decide whether the full bench will hear the case or not. So we shouldn't be telling ourselves, we shouldn't say the CPP is in error or whatsoever. The CPP may not be in error, they may be in error. They said they want the entire Supreme Court bench to hear their case. And the case is more important, the one for the Supreme Court to hear the case. Give them their day in the court. When the Supreme Court decides to say, oh yeah, we will sit on your case, it's necessary that we will sit on your case, and sit on it. But the Supreme Court that I know, they have process and procedure that they will follow, and they will not allow the public or a political party or a party to dictate to them. They know the law, they interpret the law. And those who file in petition to the Supreme Court and want for the entire Supreme Court to sit, even if Jerome is part of it or Palmo is part of the Supreme Court, probably he has some bereavement, he has to go. He has to go, but if he doesn't want to go, he won't hear the case, he hear the case. So I don't think we should bother ourselves for CPP, whether CPP is in error or not. For me, it is their right to file, it is their right to request whatsoever they want to request. But I know very well that there is a procedure and process within the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court follows.
Thank you. Mr. Cotton Ash Clam, thank you for coming on. Roosevelt Cromwell, watching from Vital, Orange Grove District, Grand Bassa County. Wow. Thank you very much, my brother, for watching from for Orange Grove. That's the original seat of government in Grand Bassa County, Orange Grove. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to topic number 2. Share the show, make your comment. The comments are coming in, a lot of them too. And thank you very much for your interest. Honorable Doe, we are going to go to the second part here, which is the president. We are stripped to the United States. The president left for the United States. Obviously, he is the special guest of the director of CIA in Washington, D.C. But on his coming to the United States, when you look at the list of people that escorted him to the United States, he basically brought the entire cabinet. He brought the Justice Minister, Commerce Minister, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. He brought another Minister of State for Commerce. He brought the Information Minister. I mean, you name it, the entire cabinet. So we'll get to that. But before we get to that, I heard I know you're doing something special in Washington, D.C. You wanted to remind the audience. What is it that you're doing special for our folks in Washington, D.C.? Is that event coming up?
I'm doing anything. I just do my little job. Man. I
Okay,
do anything. I
I
got to
thought
put food on the family. I got to put food on the table for my family. I work. I do, and I do my little thing on the side, one two on the side. But
okay.
I'm kind of concerned when the president is coming, knowing how the country look like. The president has an invitation to come to the states or go anywhere, away from the country. The entourage is too much, and when you bring all the entourage, we bring the entourage, and you're getting results, and the results are positively impacting the people on the grounds in your home. We be happy. But from time to time, not only George Weah government or George Weah as the president of the country, the government passed, they bring all these people. And I know very well that when they bring them, they want for each of the minister whosoever to meet their counterpart here to discuss matter of vital importance to the improvement of Liberia, of their common interest about the impact. Too sad. It's sad.
Great.
It's sad. So I mean, for me, I'm going to be working as I do, and let's see what the president's trip is going to yield.
Great. Mr. Padmore, this one is a special one. It is a special invitation. The CIA director wanted to meet this administration. So if you have a special invitation, first in its kind, that the CIA director visited Liberia 3 weeks ago and sent the president a special invitation to come to discuss issues of interest to the American government. And some of us who are on the periphery to bring the key members of the party of the administration. I think it is appropriate that when, not the president, because when the president calls, that's pageantry to some degree. When the CIA calls, it is specific in nature. Don't you think the president is taking advantage of this special invitation to bring all the major players? The major players. We are talking about finance. We're talking about commerce. We're talking about NSA. We're talking about information. We're talking. I mean, you name it. This is a home run for President Weah. This is unbelievable.
Oh, man. We are talking about the CIA. The CIA just invite you. We say the Department of State. We say the Department of Treasury. The CIA. We also have to go to Mama. All of go. If they will hold all the war, I don't know what happened to Mama. Then Joe, we are crazy. He bring everybody to where? Where you at? I go. The CIA want to all. Yes. That way, Lola, he done grab all the key of his interest. We all going to CIA. Your team are going up. My come back. If I come back, all will not come back. But I mean, it is like you say, it is the first of its kind. It is suspicious. It is very peculiar that the CIA will invite a sitting president for an audience. Most of the time, the people don't announce things. Even if they want to see Joe Weah, they will come into the country. They will have an audience with him, and then they will leave. And nobody will even know, sir. But this one, they say, please come. Something's going on. I don't know if you saw the picture when the president was leaving. I got not looking correct, my man. Something happened. You don't worry.
No.
You don't worry.
Honorable Joe. Honorable Joe.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Let's look at this. Let's look at the geopolitics. Okay. And this one, I'm appealing to your international experience. Also, this one has no political cap to it. We are seeing what's happening in the Ukraine. We saw that Ukraine being the feeder of the world, the Soviet Union decided to actually starve the rest of the world to death by blockading and destroying all the feeding, all the farms and the wheat and the grains from the Ukraine. And the Western world decided that this will never happen again. And all of a sudden, Africa became a very important player in making sure that Africa feeds the world. With the CIA and the Western world, Mr. Padmore, when we were young, we had Omega Tower during the Cold War in Liberia. That we had Omega Tower.
I was just about to talk about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then when Liberia lost its significance, when the Cold War went by, when it was demolished, when there were no more Cold War, they decided they didn't want the Omega Tower anymore. And like the American folks always say, they have permanent interests, but not permanent friends. Liberia did not become a permanent friends. The interests have changed from the Cold War, so spying and information gathering was no longer important. Now we are going back to that, where we are back to square one. Liberia is now back. It doesn't matter whether it was George Weah or Ellen Johnson Sirleaf or Mr. Padmore, anybody who was president of Liberia at this point, you would be lucky enough now to become, Liberia is becoming significant again. This is what we are talking about. It is not about political party per se.
Wow.
It is Liberia's significance. The only American, basically, sub-colony in the on the continent. Mr. Doe.
Nice spin.
You see, look, Mr. Gayman, I think the world is changing. When I heard that the CIA sent for the president, want to have a tete-a-tete with the president, I was kind of wondering. I said, well, where are all these satellites you've been talking about? I've never heard that CIA will vet the president. Usually they have their agents who partner with our NSA and they brief our president. President get information, president to president talking. Now for an entity, an agency, an intelligent agency to talk to the president and inviting the president officially. There's a different ball game, a different approach from the United States. I don't know what the invitation is about, but I mind you, let me tell you that things are changing, and the kind of conversation that will be held, some of those conversations you myself will not hear them. We will not get to know what transpired. But there are deeper things that will be discussed security-wise, internationally, about international security that will be discussed. The entourage of people that the president carry, some of them be not even, they will be asking those that will be in a room. Not all of them are going to be in the room, the president, but what the man say, what the people say, what they call here for, but the fact of the matter here is that there is war going on now between Ukraine and Russia, with this kind of recruitment, massive recruitment that we're hearing and reading about Russia is carrying on in Africa now. Like, for instance, some part of Nigeria and the Cameroon belt. I think it is important. Liberia and America now look at Liberia again. But these people, we use them. We used Liberia before being a Cold War. We use Liberia. I think it is important now we do the same. But how do we do it? Should we send for the president of the country? I don't think the intelligence, the CIA doesn't have credibility in our national security system. They will send for our president. The president now is the security boss now. A whole lot of things going on. Some of us we just here talking and talking and talking. We don't know. So I would not come here and sit here and say, oh, they sent for the president because the president is not doing well, or because the president. I will not sit down here and say that. So I don't know the reason for which a certain president will be sent for. I don't know. And I don't know all those interests. Where are the EPA men got to do with the intelligence CIA? The CIA, the EPA men going to be in the room too, or the other guys and that came with the president on the team, will they be in the room there? I think the CIA is supposed to be talking to our CIA and our NSA people. They should be talking with our defense people. You know, those guys who bring to or carry intelligence, who deal with intelligence in our country. So we'll be talking to them, then inviting the president, a sitting president, to a meeting here in the United States of America. I've been seeing that before, so I would not just conclude on that. So let's just wait and see and follow the discussions. That's all.
Mr. Padmore, at one point, from I think it was the U.S. Embassy's release, and I think it was in, the Daily Observer, when the CIA director made the surprise visit to Liberia. They said he met with the president, the justice minister, and defense. Like Mr. Weah is saying here, Arthur Weah is saying here, strangely, the NSA was not mentioned as one of those that were met with. So now that we are back to the stage, like I think Mr. Doe used the word used. Liberia have been used by the United States during the Cold War. Now that we are back and we have some significance, we have some importance now, how do we leverage what we have now to gain maximum exposure, benefit to the society, going on to the next administration or all of that? How do we leverage this now? Because we know we didn't do that much well during the Cold War with the Omega Tower in Liberia. When you look, we didn't derive a lot of benefit from it at all, in my estimation, based on the level of money that were coming to Liberia and going elsewhere. We were just like the stepchild, like we said. So how do we leverage this time around to benefit the Liberian people?
Look, first of all, let's clear some things up. The U.S. government used Liberia during the Second World War. They never sent for our president to do that. The CIA never sent for our president to do that. They built the Omega Tower. They never had to send for the president to do that. They built the VOA station back there in Johnsonville area there. They never had to send for our president to do that. That they one year they will send for private audience. The CIA doesn't operate in that way. The CIA, if they want, they will come and meet with the president. Or the State Department will invite the president and they'll have the CIA in a room and say, but this is an official invite from the CIA. That is troubling. It's peculiar. It's not normal. It's not natural. And then when you go in, you don't go by yourself. You carry everybody with you. You have advancing. Carrasco, they were already in the U.S. You already have advancing on the ground. You said, well, maybe, let me say Carrasco, if they catch you, then I will not go. You know? Yeah.
But Mr. Padmore, how do we leverage this to benefit the Liberian people?
You think it's a benefit? I don't think it's a benefit. But this is what I will tell you. There have been whispers in political circles that there are certain people that are reaching out for Russian money. I don't know if you've heard that. Certain political entities that are reaching out for Russian money because they get their own money to run their own campaign. That is worrisome. It is important that Liberia recognize who their friends are and who will stand through and through thick and thin. Okay, yes, people say, look, the US, they don't have permanent friends, they have permanent interests, but our interests are very similar to the US interests. Very similar. We need to, how you leverage anything in this environment where you have the Chinese on the move, you have the Russians on the move, you recognize who you are familiar with, and you take advantage of those things. If you look, Boko Haram is in Nigeria, they're in Chad, they're in Mali. It's almost like a rainbow, and they are moving further west. The way you leverage anything, geopolitically, okay, is by recognizing who your true friends are, where you get the most benefit, where is the easiest transition. You make a decision and you stick to that decision. Okay? Samuel Doe didn't stick to that decision. You were jumping. 1 minute with the American, and that minute with the Chinese, and that minute with the Czech. You remember when Ceausescu, what his name?
Yeah,
Came to Liberia and to wave. You got to make a decision. I remember when he was jumping from Taiwan to mainland China, back to Taiwan, back to mainland China. I don't know how many. They were, each time when they put one leg break on the SKD, then he would switch. Then the other Chinese people will leave, the other Chinese people will come. So you have to make a decision, and you have to stick with your decision. That's the only leverage I see. Other than that, we are pawns in the game.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute. If you are watching, please share this show. Get involved. We're reading the comments. For those of you who are commenting, I'm looking at 2-minute comments here. But we appreciate you tuning in. Fix Electronics, you grow. Winwood Lockheed is here. We are getting folks from all over the place. This one is from Sino County. If you are from Sino County, you call it from Sino County, we appreciate it. It means a whole lot. Mr. Doe.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Doe. Next time I have to put it honorable there.
I'm calling Mr. Doe, man.
What you are saying here, this is an unusual time. Never before in our geopolitics have we had so much turmoil. You are seeing the Chinese, the Russians, and then last week you heard something very strange. Two arch enemies, Iran and Saudi Arabia, they are now forming an alliance. And along with that, the Russian came and they have put together their own economic community called BRIC. So you are right. This is unusual. This is new. And people are realigning themselves. The Chinese you are talking about are now in Liberia. And from what we are seeing, they have actually taken side between the West and Russia. And that I don't think sits very well with the US. And then not only that, but we have other folks upon whom we depend, like South Africa and other countries. They are telling us that during their days of suffering, their days of liberation, in fact, last week they've been showing the photograph of Putin when he was a cadet in the KGB training people from Namibia for their independence, Zimbabwe, South Africa. So they were there. Are you saying now that they are reaping the benefit from a seed that is sown 50 years ago? That now these countries are either in the UN, they are not voting for or against. All of them are abstaining. It is worrisome, Mr. Doe.
It is worrisome. Politics is interest, and geopolitics need more interest. International politics should be yielding positive results for the country and people. You don't go into negotiation and not put your country first. You have to make sure that you tighten all screws where the people are going to benefit, the country going to benefit, the people benefit. I will say this again. We are in strange time where war is raging between Ukraine and Russia. The United States now is involved, getting to be involved solely. So the United States now is returning to her allies. Liberia having to be one. I can remember when, I was born in Firestone, Magibi, Firestone. The airport is not that far from there. I know many Liberians, or even those who born in that area, they didn't know that the trenches we always talk about, being in the trenches with this and that. Let me tell you, Jerome, if you have gone around the Roberts International Airport area, you'll see these huge drone down, those huge foxholes, well built. You could see them. Our Liberian people say this beginning there walking, but I used to walk up, but I saw some little things, man. I said, wow. Then the question becomes, did we benefit from all of these things? People use Liberia. I would say yes. But what happened? Corruption. We benefited, but the money that the people gave us, it is our leaders who pour those money in their personal pockets, and it continues today. The president's visit to the U.S., if the CIA called for the president, it is because of a very, very important reason that the president has been called to have the tete-a-tete. It never happened before. So let's see. But this time around, let Liberia benefit. It is not the individual family or individual benefiting. Let Liberia benefit. Liberia now is the breeding ground for recruitment for anything. I just came back from Monrovia recently. Everybody, they're hungry. It is a breeding ground for recruitment. So what is going on in the country should be the concern of you, Gayman, Jerome, Padmo, myself, and every Liberian. And the president being called by the CIA shouldn't have been announced in the first place. For that open letter to be in the public domain. The CIA never operated like that before. It never operated. I never read that the CIA operated like that before. Calling for a president to kind of visit, for them to have that. But we are in a new day, with a new operation. And we are in a competition at this moment as we speak, where China now is spreading all in Africa. You see? So America is concerned. The revisitation of your best friend before, you have to get there. Talk to them, renegotiate, talk, discuss. But this time around, let country be first, above pressing, and whatsoever they call the president for, let it be in the interest of the country, and let it benefit positively the people that are on the ground.
Thank you. Now let's segue. I think Mr. Padmore kind of took this the word right out of my mouth, and he preempted it, but it's a great segue. Our last topic here is the presidential election is heating up. Campaign is about to take place. Everybody is campaigning directly or indirectly. The new strategy now is to use the voter registration as a campaign tool. You put on your placard and say, "Out the door, presidential candidate encourages you to go and vote," and you placard everywhere. President Weah is telling you to go and vote. Commies are telling you to go and vote. In fact, they are going from community to community. Every group is going to each community and say, "We're not campaigning. We're here to encourage folks to vote." So now here we are. Vice President Joseph Boakai is about to pick his VP. And when all began, we all came up, the pundits came up with different lists. It was Nyobli Kanga, it was Jeremiah Kong, it was Gonglo, and then there were those who deliberately came out and they were dances to be noticed. Nyobli Kanga expressly told folks that she wanted to be vice president. Gonglo said, "Well, nobody had called me. I'm sitting here waiting." And now we are hearing that the Joseph Boakai camp is absolutely broke. As evidence, when he returned to Liberia, he didn't even have anybody to meet him at the port. When I talked to one of the men, I said, "Why nobody came to meet the old man at the airport?" He said, "Listen, to bring people at the airport, the old man, you got to put them in buses and everything, take care of them. It costs money." Mm-hmm. So they were right. They were upfront. It means money. So here is what we gather. We gather now that the negotiation with Nyobli Kanga, obviously, it looks like there's no money coming from that end. There were requests made to the Nima folks, Prince Johnson and Jeremiah Kong, to the tune of $2 million. And they said they are bringing the human capital. There's no way they should bring that kind of money. So the choice now is, where do we go for money? And for some reason, through Banana Ure and everybody else, they got in bed with some group of Russian guys. It may not be the Russian government, it may be Russian oligarchs that have interest in either mining and other stuff. And they agreed to put up some huge sum of money. And the caveat is, if we put up the money, then our agent or somebody who will steer our affairs should be the vice president. And that person, according to what we're hearing, nothing official, is Costa. So in political punditry, you will say, if you are picking your vice president should bring something to the table. If you pick somebody from Nima, you say Nima is not in play. If you pick somebody from Bong, you say Bong is in play. But if you pick somebody from District Number 1, and you are also in District Number 1, it makes no sense. But that as it may, this is the rumor we are hearing, that under no circumstance, no particular term, the Russians are now becoming a major stakeholder in the Joseph Boakai camp. And based on that, everything is constant. Costa will be chosen as vice president to Joseph Boakai. Mr. Padmore, you briefly mentioned that, touch on that, and see what is it you are hearing from your circles.
Oh, well, I mean, look, we are all waiting for the old man to make a decision. We had a show here a couple of weeks ago, and I gave my analysis that I believe the best ticket for Joseph Boakai to become the next president of Liberia was a Boakai Cummings ticket. There are people who have been fed erroneously that Mr. Cummings has refused to be VP, which is a lie out of the pit of hell. Mr. Cummings has never stated that before. As a politician, Mr. Cummings is well aware that you don't make any definite statements because nobody knows which card will be dealt tomorrow. Whenever he has been asked concerning the VP position, he states that he got into this race to run for the presidency, that the CPP had an arrangement, and he was looking forward to seeing that arrangement to the end. But he has never, ever, let me repeat, Alexander Cummings has never, ever stated that he cannot be VP. That being said, we're waiting for the Omen. The Omen will pick a VP. And then we'll all see the true nature of the Omen, whether he is a man of wisdom or whether he is being directed by other people, you know. And then the Liberian people can make judgments for themselves on how things are. And that's how it is. Now, when you talk about the Russians, I mean, I know you are a sedition, You know, your ear are with the. So if you're talking to them that the leaders have said to you, please let us know, because me and Popo, I know about it. You know, I know about it. I've heard Yomli Konkanga Lawrence name. I've heard Herman Costa name. I've heard Jeremiah Kuhn name. I've heard Benedict Ure name. You know, I've heard Darius Dillon name. You know, and we're all waiting on the old man. You know, the peculiar thing about how the UP has set up their pick is that whoever they pick, all the other people run away. You know, it's like they fed everybody bait. And everybody went into it believing that, oh, it has to be me, man. You know, but I've told people this before. UP need Ambassador Boakai needs to pick his VP candidate, which I know will not be Yombly, so that peace can come to Liberty Party. Because the reason why there is a division in Liberty Party today is because Yombly won't be VP. Once she found out that she is not going to be VP, peace will come back to Liberty Party. CPP will become whole. You know, when they don't pick a Benedict Ure and a group of people, he will decide, you know, let me go sit down with CPP because they're the best chance for me. You will see things fall into place on this pick. I promise you that. And we'll discuss it right here.
Honorable Doe.
Oh, thank you so much. No, thank you so much. Looking at the political field then, the various candidates, everybody want to be president, but only one president can be president. And yes, indeed, the VP pick is very crucial in these political exercises. And the kind of president you pick, it is the president that the people will glue to, and they will glue to your team. I don't believe in this Cummings Boakai thing, Boakai Cummings think, Boakai Yombly and whatsoever. You know, the best pick for either political team, it is the kind of strategy in terms of where to tap to get those voters, bring in new voters. If you look at the election results, let's put, for instance, we say we keep the population at 5 million, and we say the U4 voters they are almost like 60 to 65%. But there are some people even in the million or two that now never voted before. I never heard that we have gone to days or some kind of a number come out say, oh, but we get these new people who just register for the first time to be voting. This is why the census was important. The census was very important in these exercises. So up to now, we are still thinking about the number. What is the census? The number. And you know, people say, oh, the census was not conducted. But in the absence of that, political parties should make efforts to go to those voters. You can go to the Elections Commission and look at the voter registration. You know who are, you know where the votes of those who have not voted before. You know where you can go. And you know, but the fact that political party had never, ever, as far as I'm concerned, gone into a research to see for themselves the amount of party sims they themselves have, each political party has. They never did that before. They just talking politics. I can do this, I can do that. But Boakai best pick now in these exercises will be either Jeremiah Kuhn or G. Kennedy Sandy. It will throw everybody off, but that unit will hold. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Doe, just before you go, you didn't address the Russian phenomena, the possibility of Russian
Oh,
tribes.
that's nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm sorry for me to use that term. That's nonsense. That's That is politics. That is nonsense. We're not going into that. And the security will take care of that. We want more voters to come in. They Russia think and they don't spoil our country. That country is so small. If the country is a ground for recruitment for any kind of terrible thing to the country now. But that Russia, no, we want facts into these things. We don't hearsay about destroying our country today. So I don't believe in that nonsense about Russia issue, even though I'm concerned, but I don't believe in it. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Mr. Padmore, I think Mr. Doe agree here that the Russians next door to us, we discussed Mali, we discussed, in fact, more recently, Burkina Faso. Anybody who is listening to international politics will have known that Russia is actually now in Burkina Faso, okay? And if you are in Mali, and you're in Burkina Faso, and you're in Nigeria, and the Ghanaians are beefing up their borders to prevent some of these. And Honorable Doe is saying we should not discuss that because he doesn't believe it. Isn't that basically committing political suicide here? And we are not preparing. It happened in Mali. It happens in Burkina Faso recently. It's going on through Boko Haram. And you say we shouldn't take it seriously.
Listen. We have a security. We are supposed to have a security apparatus. That's what we are supposed to have. Even though Jeremiah already told us, it may say I go to Nima, nobody to the border. That God man in your country. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, the security, no matter what we talk here, the security people supposed to do their job. If they believe that there's a Russian threat, then they need to beef up the border. But what is really curious and concerning to me is, why is the CDC so concerned about this? I remember back in 2017, when the CDC were running their political campaign, they were broke. They didn't have any money. They got in left. Before they make their money, they came back. They have a bunch of money. They had a helicopter. And there was talk in the town that they were dealing with Nigerian and Russian oligarchs. And y'all went your way, y'all won your election, y'all running your country. Now the other people go look for their own money, you're scared. Why you scared of? Y'all lead the people. Let the people look for their money. Lead the people. That's what I would say. Y'all lead the people. Y'all went look for your own. Nobody say anything. Lead the people. Don't be scared.
This man is a classic ANCN. This is how they talk. The law to throw out smoke screen. We are talking about the president of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Dr. George Manuel Weah, is in the United States to talk about geopolitics. It has never happened. President Weah is so strange. He's a celebrity. The gentleman is respected around the world. Special care. He got special invitation. Something that have never happened before. But they did it to this guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great show. I'm enjoying it. Mr. Doe, you got to be a pro because you're doing this too well. No sweat, no attitude. You got your subject matter ready to go. You're a great analyst. We love having you here. Let's go to some of the comments. After we read the comments, we may take a few.
Man, you missed. I said, Chief, you missed one subject.
Which one?
This. You know, do you know that one of the things that this government has chanted every year, especially during the State of the Union, is that they have no political prisoners, that the country is free and transparent, and everybody is free to go about their political business. That is not true anymore. This government has suspended student politics in the microcosm of the University of Liberia.
Okay.
We have seen where this has gone numerous times, from Toba to Doe to Taylor. We have seen this, and this president has joined that bandwagon, and that, I believe, is worrisome, and it needs to be discussed. What is going on?
Great. Listen, I'm a seditious. I'm from the Southeast. I got some fighting blood in me. You looking for a fight? You got one. You know we in fact we got a lot of men here from the southeast. We both three of us from the southeast. So the crewmen would never shy away from a fight. The Bassa men would never shy away from a fight. The Riverside men would never shy away from a fight. You want to fight? You gotta fight, Mr. Doe. This gone past week, we saw what happened on the university campus, where students, hooligans, call themselves militants. They call themselves soup. They have harassed people. They are actually, that group should be banned, not only banned, but they should be labeled as a terroristic group in the Republic of Liberia. They went from the very beginning. They violated the cardinal law of the Republic of Liberia, Article 13 of our Constitution, that says there is nobody in the Republic of Liberia should be barred from a freedom of movement. Yet, SOUP says the University of Liberia is a no-go zone for government officials, seditionists. Anybody that is a sympathizer of this government should never have anything to do with the University of Liberia. Not only that, but SOUP went on my church campus, AMEU, and they vandalized the university because they said the president of AMEU is a sympathizer of the CDC government. They went on the campus of AMEU and destroyed properties, harmed people. Recently, the Honorable Chorus Gray decided this thing has to come to an end. The University of Liberia, Capitol Hill, the police department, the executive mansion are all in his district. And he said there is no way that a group of people will tell him that he cannot go around in his own district, even if he wanted to have lunch on the campus. He's an alum of the university. Mr. Doe, SOUP is a bad example of our young folks, and I think the university did the right thing by suspending them to investigate, to get to
Unfortunately, I don't want you to end your statement. I know why you're driving at. First of all of those bad nomenclature description you place on SOUP, it is very unfortunate that you would do so. From the bottom of your heart, you would do such a thing. It worries me a whole lot. For you, Gayman, a former student activist, would not bow down to such nonsense. I'm sorry for me to make such a statement again. To bow down to such thing, brother. You, Gayman, the guy who used to march, people who talk nonsense, you march against them, right? And you're now trying to criticize the Student Unification Party, giving them all type of negative names. You should look in the mirror, brother. Look in the mirror and ask yourself all those nomenclature, those descriptions that I gave those kids, those children who are learning. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That's why you should come on one day to say that. Those guys, the students, they have rights. And their right, they were exercising their rights. I don't support violence. Let me tell you something serious. I do not support violence. But there is nowhere in the handbook of student politics that you cannot boo somebody. If you boo someone, it means that they will take you from the school. Where is the student handbook? Who is the president of the University of Liberia with the students announced that there should be a no-go place for corrupt officials? What did the university president do? The leadership do? Does that give a Carlos Gray the ground to carry non-university students on the campus, march on the campus? Did Mayor Bossa in Washington, D.C., who is the mayor, when Donald Trump talks, march to the Capitol building? Did you see her mobilizing the black folks here to go and fight at the Capitol building? Is that what you're telling me? You're calling about Honorable Akaras Gray. He is a dishonorable guy. Never in history sure somebody do such a thing. The police, he marched right in front of the police station. The police chief was there. The president did not say "Fwah" to that, only to know that he responded to the CIA letter, invitation to go to the University of Liberia. President came on. He's under pressure too because he made a mistake when the guy when Soup said there's no go zone. When you are making a second statement, he said, "There's my second statement I'm making now. I made the first one, but I'm making the second one." That means he was under pressure. They told him, "Hello, my man, you get your job. We promise to give you this so amount." That statement that you made first for a week, so you should come up and suspend. That's why he said, "Oh, I made the first one. I'm making the second one again." That is Kaluz. It's weak and has no place, should not have any place on the university campus. What the president should tell us, the University of Liberia should tell us that is there will be no sociology department, there will be no political science department. Close everything down, close the damn university down. That's what he should say. But for you to come out here, Gayman, you yourself, Gayman, as an activist, to be raising those students. Is the American embassy ground where the students were demonstrating? Is that the University of Liberia campus? July 26th, the student was there. The same gray guy and the folks, they mobilized and go and brutal those students over there. Were they on campus? We shouldn't joke with our students. We should stop that. We should stop that, Gayman. Thank you so much. We should stop that.
Honorable Doe is a true representative. He's a soupist. So you see, it's in his sinew, it's in his blood. But let me talk to Mr. Padmore. Now that we have heard from Soup, this is why I wanted him to come on here, because I wanted to hear one of their own. Now listen to this. You see how smart Mr. Doe is? He's a politician at the highest level. He didn't mention, he said the bull. He didn't mention that they vandalized the man's car. They beat on the man's car. He didn't say that when the vice president went there, she barely escaped. He didn't say when the finance minister went there, they chased him, he ran, they threw rock at him. He didn't say that. He didn't even mention Soup going on AMU campus and breaking windows and breaking cars. He didn't mention any of that. He didn't mention Yeke Koluba going on campus and say he's coming to liberate the university, and they were there cheering him. He didn't mention none of that. Mr.
Because there's a reason why I did not mention that. There's a reason why.
There you go. Mr. Padmore,
cause effect analysis, there is a reason why.
What's the reason, sir? Go ahead, real quick before I go to him. Get it out of the system.
Do I get it out? Yeah. You already the same reason why you continue causing the student that the same reason. Akaras Gray, he is a honorable man. He marched up between those students, but doing that just for that, when they went and killed those students, brutalized those students at the American place there, in front of the American embassy. Those are not things. Those are not grounds. It's not breeding grounds for violence.
It's Mr.
Peaceful students went to the American. Is that the University of Liberia campus? Stop that, Gayman. Stop that. I said it from the beginning. I do not support violence. I don't support violence at all. I don't entertain that. Right. All right. When the students say the University of Liberia is a no-go place, there is a president sitting within the University of Liberia. He is the president of the University of Liberia. What did he do? What did he do?
That one I agree
with.
He made
the first statement.
That I agree with.
I'm making the second statement to you.
Mr. Doe, I agree with you. The president of the university should have nipped this thing in the bud from the very get-go. He allowed it to linger on. Mr. Padmore, put on your CPP hat, because I want you to be political here. I don't want you to be objective. let's discuss this. You, the CPP and Alexander Cummings have been accused of financing the soup. You are on the campus because Mr. Alexander Cummings made it clear in 2020 when he said, I'm going to make the Republic of Liberia ungovernable for President George Manuel Weah. He made that clear. And we got evidence that Cummings is sponsoring, they're not even children, because one of the soup guys I was talking to last night, asked him when you were born, he said 1986. If you listen to a student that called himself a child, 1986, and not only that, but another partisan senator during the Senate hearing said those teenagers. He said those students, they are teenagers. And I talk to these guys, they talk about they were born 86, 87, 91. These people are 40-year-olds.
That's Liberia youth. That's Liberia youth. They got 2 people here that are youth.
The youth, 40-year-old youth go to the University of Liberia and they wear their khakis. They look like Jonas Zavimbi. They let Zavimbi, they're going around. They are militants. They call themselves comrades. And here you are in the spotlight, Mr. Padmore, your party and you guys are sponsoring terrorism on the university campus. And what do you say about that accusation?
Okay. So I have lived long enough to have seen certain things. And I bless God for that every day. I graduated from high school in 1993. I entered the University of Liberia in 1996. That group that entered the University of Liberia, Nathaniel McGill was part of that group. Lester Tenney was part of that group. Samuel Twe was part of that group. Wolokoli was part of that group. Akaras Gray was part of that group. We saw what they did on LU campus. That's why I'm looking at them today. I'm just shocked. I'm like, really? Akaras Gray, you're complaining? You really got the audacity to complain? 20 years ago, all you had to do just switch the face. Didn't want in the khaki. Didn't want with Taunton Taylor. I don't know if you know, I think it was 2001, March 21st, when Taylor sent the police there to flog them. And the same group. The same group that then today, that banning politics on LU campus, that are upset because of what happened on LU campus, are shocked because of what is happening on LU campus. The kids are only emulating what they saw their big brother then do. That's all they're doing. And it is shocking that they don't know the remedy to this. And banning politics on LU campus only inflames the situation. They say, okay, we'll ban student politics. Don't wear no memorabilia. Don't wear no uniform. It will not stop them from chanting behind. The next government official that go there, they will chant behind it. Row, row. I said this the other week, and I will say it again. We are so interested in shutting the students up instead of listening to what they are saying. Why are they so dissatisfied? What are they pointing out? They are upset because they see their future is being stolen away from them. They are upset because they see the people that graduated before them don't have jobs. You graduate from the University of Liberia, you better go to the master program because no job. You are everlasting learning. You know, they see all these things and they ask themselves, I'll be a senior next year. What out there? What are my chances? They don't see any development. They don't see any economic activity. They don't see anyone. They are frustrated. And they see the revolutionaries of yesterday are now riding a $90,000 car. living in the mansions. For them, the revolution is over. So I will say this: bad move, extremely bad move. But you continue. CDC has always said that the grassroots party, they're from Gibraltar, they're from Nukuta, they're from West Point. Those children that go to LUT, where they from? Where you think they're from? Those are not elitist children. That man-married children. Their mothers sell in the market. You can't be beating man-married children and then want man-married to support you. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And we'll see the ramifications of this the deeper we'll get into the elections. We will see such.
Great.
You made Dovel, you can't talk about soup business, don't go.
Don't want to get it out of his system. You got it out of his system. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We are reading a lot of comments from you guys, people from Johnsonville, from Sino, from Buchanan, from all over the country. Beautiful. We love what you do. We're going to do as much as we can to read as much as we can to make sure that you are heard. Dr. Doe, Mr. Doe, Honorable Doe, you are right. When we were activating, we didn't put our hands on anybody. It was on intellectual per se. We didn't indulge into violence. But that was then. It's now different, like you say. The war, the country that we grew up in is not the country that we're in now. So this is why I was saying everybody in Liberia has militarized everything. I mean, every political party has a militant group. Every individual politician has their own follower and a militant group. I don't know when everybody started wearing berets.
When CDC started wearing beret?
There you go.
But I want everybody started wearing beret. If you look at a CDC news conference, and you look at a soup news conference, you can't tell the difference. They chant the same songs. And they have the same ideology. They do the same dance.
Then when you look at CPP, when you look at CPP militant, there you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Mr. Jimmy Eastman, where are you, in Liberia or where? I
mean, Liberia, CDC faced the internet up to now.
Amen.
Say 1847 CDC.
1822. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's read some of these comments and we can respond to them. We got to be out of here in time. I know Honorable Doe has to go. This is from Mr. Lackey. That's what makes him better leader. He is succeeding. He meant to say, there's no doubt about that. Believe it or not. I guess he's a supporter of the president. Broke opposition, nothing to offer the Liberian people. Mr. Cutting Edge, is the Weah government hosting the enemies of the U.S. such country with an interest in terrorists, criminal gangs, and rogue nations trying to build nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons? Is the U.S. afraid with Weah connection with Saudi Arabia, the Russians, and the Chinese? Will this meeting open more doors to Liberia as a strategic partner to the USA? Will President Weah disengage the countries with interest in Russia and the other countries that do not support the interests of the United States? I think, Mr. Padmore, I want you to take a chime on this one. I think it's a very, they got some great questions there that we can answer. What do you think? Because the president has been going to places like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, all of those places and getting help for them. These countries are lining up now against the United States with Russia. Should the president disengage from the Middle Eastern help that they are giving us?
I think the president needs to choose his friend. That's what he needs to do. He needs to sit back. He needs to weigh his option, and he needs to choose his friend. If the president decides he's gonna mount the war and try to iso, it will be to his own detriment. It will be to his
Mr. Padmore. I humbly disagree with you.
That's okay.
I don't think it's about the president. I think it's about policy. We have to adapt policies that will inform our decisions. If you don't have a policy and you're going to fly by night or wing it, you're going to run into problems. But if we have a policy that we will not support aggression, we will not support certain activities, it doesn't matter who does it. The policy dictates that this is not what we do. It shouldn't be an individual decision. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is it should be a policy that informs our decision. That is how you guide a nation.
Well, first of all, why are you speaking from an undisclosed location? Let him enter weapon here first before we move on. No,
Mr. Pablo, we are talking about CIA operations.
Hey!
The water discloses.
Yes.
Mr. Eastman, I trust you. I know where you are. You saving. That's what I count. Now, let's read this here. Somebody disagreed with me when I said Yomli Kanga expressed interest in being vice president. I don't know where this person was.
That person I informed, man.
Yeah, the person said I lied. She never expressed anything about being VP. So my sister, well, the picture said Randolph Jala. Randolph, obviously you were not in Liberia. If you were in Liberia, you have known, and you're not up to date on this. But yes, she said she did. Let me go to Mr. Jackson here. Sam Chair D. Jackson, Sam Jackson. Though this is the digital age, very hard to keep secret. I think it was, he said he didn't believe any of the things we were talking, that blank, blank, blank. Okay, let's go to this guy right here. Joseph Paul. Look, Mr. Gayman, the Weah administration is in good position that the Samuel Doe administration was in when he received $500 million in aid during the Cold War. Okay, hopefully he can harness that. Some of what? BRIC. We talk about BRIC, the nations. BRIC is Brazil, Russia, India, China, now including South Africa. They are now bending to have their own economic system. Mr. Eastman, you want to chime in on this BRIC thing?
So when we see things like this, we need to figure out what is the intention or let's say the objective of the group. Is it economic or is it political? You have Brazil, Russia, India, and China. We find that China now is becoming more and more an ally to Russia. This is China flexing their muscle? Are they trying to exercise international presence no matter who it is? And if so, that is clearly why they should be backing Putin at this time. But we see India involved, which is another very industrial nation. We see Brazil, as industrial Brazil might be, they have economic woes. So this is a very unique group, and we need to look into the charter that put them together. That will tell us what are they aiming at here. Are they aiming at Brazil's resources? Because Brazil doesn't have the kind of skilled labor that China nor India has. So when you see something like this, I would suspect it very much, given the circumstances of the world today, with Russia becoming more and more isolated. I would definitely look into what is going on with this. You know what I mean?
Great. Mr. Flomo Livingstone got a question here for Mr. Padmore. So, Mr. Cummings, with all his money, what is he waiting for to pick a VP?
Waiting for the old man. We are respectable. We are respectable people. We understand tradition. We are respectable people. We'll get the old man chain. The old man will eat first. Let the old man pick. then we'll know whether he really understand what he's doing, what he's not doing. And then from there now, then we'll know now what we're doing. The whole Liberia will know.
This is the CPP / coming at its best. They cannot take a lead in anything. They always wait for someone to do something and they come up like these people. But let's go to my cousin here. You know, my mother is a Kringa, and this is a Kringa. She and we are relatives, but she hates my gut because I support Weah. I don't hate, I love her. She has a right to support coming. We, the Liberian people, don't want Russians in our country. We agree with you. If JMB can't afford an election financially, he better retire. I agree with you. He and his co-star has no right to sell our country to the criminals. I couldn't have agreed with you any better. We are who we are, and we're not going to sell our country because we need few dollars.
So when you were in bed with the Russians 2017, you're not selling the country?
That's Roma. That's Roma. That's Roma. That's Roma. That's Roma. You guys are Roma. You are Roma mongering. Okay. Mr. Lackey said, broke opposition, nothing to offer the Liberian people. Oh Lord, boy, they're on your show today.
Oh man. But don't show that thing again, man.
I'm not gonna show this guy. This guy here. Let me put this one. Martin Manor, Gayman, where are you getting your fake information from? What you say?
It was stated by Sheikh
Saka. The president benefited from Russian care during 2017.
There you go.
Was it Boakai that benefited from the Russian money? Sheikh is a liar. He's fake. This time around, it's true. That's right. You see, that's how it goes. Let me see here.
I think Sheikh is on now to defend himself.
Sheikh is here. That's right. Let me see what this one say here. Baron Brown, Flomo Livingston Padmore is a panelist and a groomman. It's his business to say what he got to say. Hey, you got somebody defending you, Mr. Padmore.
Oh yes, they're defending the truth. They're not defending me.
They defend the truth, and
they're defenders of the truth.
And my boss woman that laughing at you. There is no real CPP, yeah. Don't mind them. Okay. Mr. Palmer, is there a thing called CPP still?
There is a registered, effective, active group called CPP. Very, very active.
Prosper Thierry. That Russian news came from the ANC war room yesterday. Truth, Sekou Corner. Oh, I said, Mr. Pablo, why they keep accusing you guys? Where the Liberian people say where there is fire, where there is smoke, there is fire. They said you were sponsoring the soup student, you were giving them money to cause chaos, to make the country ungovernable. Now here we are, True Cunning, Mr. Comey appeared on our show for an hour, 3 consecutively. Now they say he had left his spoon. He's now with Conan, and Conan developed this huge mirage that the Russians are in Ghana. They're sitting there with Costa and Boakai, and they are about to get them $10 million. And that money was made so that Costa can be vice president, everybody else. Mr. Padbo addressed this. Why they keep accusing you guys?
Why the sedition keep accusing us?
No. This man not a sedition.
Who says I'm not sedition? I already be on a page.
This is a Liberian with legitimate concern. Says, Mr. Padbo, answer the question, man.
I don't know. I cannot. I refuse to get into the brain of our detractors. Okay? Everything are comings. If Comey has that much sway and that much power and that much finesse and that much manipulation, you might as well just get the country to come in now. Let's move forward.
I think Mr. Pablo, you need to read this one.
Allow me to chime in.
Yes.
Allow me to chime in, Mr. Gayman. Please allow me to chime in. The fact that the American ambassador is accusing media outside in the diaspora of spreading false information. Is he adding to the problem or is he helping resolve it? Because I can
That man should
understand
be
if
weak one.
name the
Put your camera on.
institution or the media, but definitely he should have stated what information is false. So now he has left it to speculation. Who is disseminating this false information? Is it Spoon? Is it FOL? Is it Spoon? Is it Verdier? Is it SKDV? Who is disseminating this? Now we have another media with the rejects from Spoon. I'm talking about Tomlin, Kefir Hassan, Dr. Peabody, and Kekirapoto, Ben Sambi. What are they? What is going to be their aim and objective? I think this signal that the American ambassador provided is supposed to give us a warning about something. I just wanted to put that in there.
Great. Mr. Dualo say here, look at Mr. Gayman is full of CDC backwardness. CIA don't call you because you are doing right. Oh,
that's true.
Yeah,
you never get called to the principal office because you are a student.
There
no.
Dualo is a BANC man. I mean, not ANC man.
Yeah.
He's a Boakai man, and they're drowning, and he knows that. Mr. Dualo, nice try. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We have reached basically the time limit here. We have read your comments. We will ask Mr. Padmore to close. We gave him 1 minute. Mr. Isma, we thank you very much for going through trouble to get on. I know internet system is hard. And Honorable Doe, you have done an excellent job. We're closing 1 minute because we have another great show coming up right after us at 6 o'clock. We need to get a few minutes to prepare. Mr. Padmore.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Look, the CPP, by petitioning the court, are doing the right thing. You know, when you send your petition to the Supreme Court, if it is heard by a single justice, and you are not okay with the ruling of that single justice, then you can appeal to the full bench. The CPP is just we're going to take the middleman out. We'll appeal to the full bench. We don't have time to waste. We're already in March. The registration is about to start in a few days. We don't have time to mango. That's why we're going straight to the full bench. Look, when it comes to the president being called by the CIA, it is worrisome to me. It is worrisome. The CIA does not operate in daylight. They do their best work behind the scenes. We are really on edge. We want to know what's going on. We want to know why our president, is being called, and we want some answers. Look, you do not ban student politics. That is not the answer. So now that you hear, there's some rumorage in LU campus, so you ban student politics. When the election season begins, and there's some violence, are you going to start banning political parties? Is that the next thing you're going to do? That is not the answer. You impress upon the university and the police to investigate. Indeed, if there is someone that committed a crime, forward the person to court, and you move forward. It's as simple as that. Stop this banning stuff. It's not going to work. It's not going to solve anything. Finally, we are excited. We hear that the VP is going to announce his pick on Wednesday. We've heard through the grapevine who we believe it is. If that is who the VP picks, we'll see where we go from there. But we have made things clear. I want to throw out a challenge. Sam Wallow stated on here, and I'm sure he's still listening, that he has video evidence that Mr. Cummings stated that he will only be VP. I want to challenge Sam Wallow in his public manner to produce that evidence at any time. I'll be willing to hear that evidence from him. Other than that, he needs to put this to rest. Thank you.
Mr. Eastman, I know you're in Monrovia there.
I will try to be brief, given I will try to be brief given the situation I find myself. But Sam Wallow, Gongo is not going to run with JB. So you need another ticket. Face reality. It is wishful thinking. But I can tell you, a progressive like Gonglo will not run with JB. 100%. Now there are other speculations. I'm surprised you didn't know. You're not hearing what's on the ground. But this is going to turn out to be a very interesting election, and it's still the CDC to win. But as the clock ticks, the incidences like what happened at the campus, those things subtract votes. It's a faux pas. But we'll see how much control the chairman and the Senate Bear will exercise to reel them in. But that was a faux pas. So it's going to be an interesting turn of events as we proceed. That's what I got from you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Doe.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman and Padmo and your listening audience. I'm very, very much thrilled and happy that I'm here and trying to provide my departing a comment with respect to the president's invitation. I think that we will wait and see, and we'll follow the story. Some of us that are closer here, we will make sure that we get some information as to what has been obtained from the president's visit. And I hope and pray that Liberia and the Liberian people are going to benefit wholeheartedly from the president's visit. I know very well that there are comments all in the news about Russia issue in different countries. I pray that America, Liberia's friend, will seal the Republic of Liberia so that rumor that is going on that Russia money is in Liberia it shouldn't be a truth. With respect to Boakai speak, I propose and I say it will be a good thing that Boakai speaks Kun or Kennedy Sandy. With respect to the students, banning student politics, suspending the student activities on the campus, I think it was weak. It didn't help the president. The president is a decent man. If many of you can recall, when the president took office, he made a statement that he will hire the best brains to help him lead. You'll hire the best brain to help him lead.
It led you away?
No, hold on 1 minute.
I mean, we got to close our show.
Yeah, you hire the best brain. I'm so sorry. I just interrupted. So I think up to the violence on the campus, I think it was meant to expose some of the weaknesses of the president and some of the things that shouldn't be, because we are in the election year, and as my colleague said, with the president be we agree, and the rest of the guys will counter act when the other political party, that it means that we're going to be ruining our country. It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't have no place in our country. We are developed. We should be developed now, because the fact that we are 200 years should be on top of everything. And to you, the moderator, my dear friend and brother, who having to be a former student activist, I think the statement that you made on soup, so you describing soup negatively, I want to believe that it was not the proper thing to do. There is a very big media platform here, and I know that you are sedition, you are diehard sedition. For me, I am not a car-carrying sedition. I do have respect for the president. He's a guy who loves his country. But there are a lot of things going on in the country. The president paid lip service to them. But as a result, things are going ahead of scatter. With respect to the elections this year, what we're getting from other sources, we think that they are saying that the president will go the second term based on what was struck, the deal that was struck in 2005 when Madam Johnson Sirleaf came back, and when she came back from Nigeria, and the president, they came back from Nigeria. There was a deal struck, and that deal will hold. That is, any president from that deal will serve 2 terms. But the president who's supposed to be serving 2 terms, when he mess up like the way George we are messing up now, I don't think it's in his best interest. However, that deal still stands. We don't want distraction in the political terrain and the political exercises that is coming on. We don't want any distraction.
We got
despite the fact that we are looking through the lenses, we want transparency, decency, integrity of our elections. But I think the CPP move is a total distraction, and we need to keep focused. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We love what you do. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. Obviously, we know it's President Weah's turn. It's going to be a one-round victory.
And one thing, quickly, Mr. Gayman. Mr. Gayman. I think I asked you before I came on the show. I'm so sorry. I want to use this platform to appeal to the Liberian people that we will be having our dual citizenship celebration this coming Saturday. And we want for every one of us, it's a victory for us. We are in the diaspora. It's something that we should cherish. The Archie Bernard going to be here explaining, so because he is the legal advisor to the president. He will be here in Philadelphia this coming Saturday to explain to us in the diaspora, because there are some people who are in doubt about this. It is real. Liberians have dual citizenship. Is that something that we should take, we should cherish? So I invite everybody to come, $100 a piece to attend. Please come and celebrate. There will be people who will be honoring. Please come. And your humble servant, Arthur Weah will be honored too. Thank you so much.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people.